Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys, and welcome to a new video here on my channel. I know I took a little bit of a break, not because I didn't have any videos. I actually have two videos filmed, edited, uploaded and ready to go, but my audio system broke, you guys, and I was a little bit disappointed. I was a little bit upset and I just stopped filming for a while because I couldn't film anymore until I got a new mic, so I hope the sound is better. Here is the mic, you guys. What I like about it, by the way, I know this is a little bit off topic, is that it's very small and it doesn't take the shine away. Anyways, that's besides the point, you guys. In today's video, I want to share my thoughts on some, let's just say, more recent Middle Eastern fragrance launches, and also I have a bonus fragrance in today's video. I want to share my thoughts on a fragrance that's called Rojin by Anna. This fragrance was released by a fellow content creator, a fellow fragrance reviewer from Romania, and just recently she launched this fragrance, again Rojin by Anna, in collaboration with Haifa Perfumes, and she asked me if I would like to test the fragrance and share my honest thoughts about the fragrance, and I said yes. So in today's video I will let you know how her fragrance smells like, how it develops, how it performs, if I find it similar with other fragrances, who I feel like will enjoy it. So I will just share my thoughts on this fragrance, and she also included some decants she thought I would love to test, and I will share my thoughts on some of those decants as well. You guys, if you will see me cutting here and there, just it's been a while since I've been speaking in English. So yeah, so I will share my thoughts also on Teriaq Intense by Lattafa. I got so many questions about this fragrance. I will also share my thoughts on a fragrance called Athena from Maison Alhambra, and I will also share my thoughts on a fragrance called Absolute Gold from Fragrance World. So we will be discussing 4 fragrances in today's video. But of course, where can I put this? I will put them here. But of course, you guys, the first fragrance I want to start with is her fragrance. Anna, congratulations on the launch. May this be a successful launch, and may all the upcoming launches be successful as well. Let me just quickly add the unboxing part. And speaking of Haifa, maybe let's just say this part will cater more towards my Romanian audience that's watching my channel, but I have tried a handful of fragrances from Haifa and I want to share with you my favorite ones so far. So let's start with the first fragrances I've tried. This is their inspiration of La Belle from Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it used to have a sticker with the code, but I don't have the sticker on the bottle anymore because I thought it looked pretty ugly, honestly. But yeah, this is a beautiful inspiration. As you can see, I have used it a lot. It's that easy grab and go type of fragrance. It smells just like La Belle, did I say La Belle or La Belle Parfum? I hope I've said La Belle because this is their inspiration to La Belle, not La Belle Parfum. Beautiful inspiration. What can I tell you? I even have a decant of this fragrance in my purse when I'm on the go in my makeup bag, let's just say, with a lot of other things like hand cream, other fragrances, lip liner, lipsticks, all of that. I also have a decant with that fragrance. Now, another fragrance I've tried from them, again, do I have? No, I don't. I was looking for the sticker to give you the code. Anyways, this is their inspiration to Hypnotic Poison from Dior. You guys, this is such a beautiful fragrance. This does justice to the DNA of Hypnotic Poison. Let me just spray it a little bit here. If you have been watching my channel for a while, maybe you remember I have been mentioning this fragrance in some of my other videos. Yeah. This is so calm and cozy and collected and gentle and soft and feminine. Slightly sensual, but a very cozy type of feminine energy. Yeah, this is how the fragrance smells like. Again, all about an almond decor with vanilla, something a little bit powdery. Beautiful, nothing to complain. I even gave a decant of this fragrance to a good friend of mine, and she purchased the bottle as well because she loved how the fragrance smelled like. And last but not least, let me highlight from this brand. This is called Beirut from Haifa Perfumes. This fragrance, I'd say it's a fusion between Devotion and Lira, and let me tell you what I mean by a fusion between Devotion and Lira. So it has the lemon accord from Devotion, so it's a little bit more zingy, a little bit more acidic, a little bit more sparkling, that type of lemon. But it has the lavender accord from Lira, from Zerzhov. So it does add this gentle green, almost aromatic facet to the fragrance, though it's dosed enough so it doesn't overpower the other notes. This is something I like. You know, I'm not a fan of lavender. Lavender, it's one of my least favorite notes in fragrances, if I'm being very honest. I find it, for my taste, again, for my taste, a pretty hard to digest note. If you have lavender in a fragrance, best believe you will pick it up. It's, again, all in all, I'm just struggling with this accord, but here I feel like it's one of the few fragrances where I can actually wear it. Let me rephrase that. This is one of the few fragrances that I can actually wear that has a pretty pronounced lavender accord, but it's because it's balanced out by that lemon that has a gourmand undertone about it. So I'd say you have this lemon accord with the lavender on this beautiful base of this creamy, dense, rich vanilla, something from a vanilla essence, but make it very creamy and sweet. This is the fragrance. This is 150 ml, you guys, and as you can see, I have been wearing this fragrance quite a lot, especially in the summertime. Yeah, so these are some of the fragrances that I have tried from this brand. In case you are based in Romania, you can find these fragrances at different fragrance islands at your local mall, where you can also find Anna's fragrance. So let's just talk about this fragrance, you guys. This was marketed as a unisex fragrance. I will add a note somewhere here on the screen, but as always, you guys, I will tell you what I think about the fragrance, how it smells like to me, what is my experience with the fragrance, what energy does it give me, and everything like this. So let's just start. So first things first, what I have to mention, this is extremely oily, you guys. I'm not really sure what's the oil concentration, but this genuinely leaves an oil cast wherever you spray it. Okay, so this opens up, you guys. I pick up three things. So on one hand, I pick up something lemony bergamot, something slightly citrusy, slightly sparkling, effervescent, that type of citrus. Then I pick up blackcurrant for sure. It's not a very green blackcurrant. It's actually a fruity, more fruity forward blackcurrant, but it has this underlying tangy facet about it. You know that facet that makes your mouth pucker? Yes, you have it here as well. So I'd say in the opening you have these two main accords that add a lot of dimension, a lot of movement to the fragrance in the opening. And I pick up in the background a very beautiful, dainty and soft, powdery floral accord with a little bit of sweetness. Surprisingly, here I get sweetness and I also detect something creamy in the background. But when I was trying it out on my skin, I'd say I got more of the powdery quality of the florals thing. I'd say in my mind, it's more like an abstract pink floral accord with a touch of something powdery. Like a powdery musky accent, something like this, you know? But it doesn't lean baby powder-esque, something from a makeup-y powder accord, that type of accord to me. Yeah, so in the opening, I'd say these are the highlights of the fragrance, you know, the citrusy part, the blackcurrant with the floral bouquet and with that powdery touch in the background. And here, you guys, I actually pick up something sweet as well that on my skin it didn't shine until much later on. See, but give this fragrance, let's just say 1 minute and a half, and you will see that the more this fragrance stays here on paper, I can already start to pick up on my skin as well. It changes. I can't really say that it changes completely, but let's just say that the ratio amongst the notes changes a lot. So as the fragrance stays here on paper and on my skin as well, you lose the citrusy touch, the blackcurrant slowly but surely moves in the background until you lose it completely. The powdery floral accord, I feel like it's still present, but in a way it moves again in the background, where paired with something creamy and vanillic acts as a base to the other notes. And I feel like what moves forward is this spicy green, freshly grounded cardamom accord that again adds a lot of dimension, a lot of vibrancy and this spicy green facet to the fragrance. And this very interesting, almost like a dark fougere accord, like a dark, deep, fresh fougere accord. I get something aromatic and green. This is why my mind is like a fougere accord, or something that would resemble a fougere accord. So it feels more fresh, but again, it's not a bright, airy, light type of freshness. It's that type of deep freshness. It's that type of deep, fresh accord that's slightly woody, slightly fresh, a little bit refreshing, green, aromatic at the same time. Yeah. And I see you have this dance between some accords that lean feminine, quote unquote, and some accords that lean masculine, quote unquote. I'd say this deep dark fougere aromatic accord with something a little bit woody, with that cardamom facet that from time to time can come across almost as a little bit minty, so it adds this minty spicy green facet to the fragrance. And then in the background I get the pink florals with something powdery and with a creamy vanilla. Surprisingly, you guys, here on paper I feel like the creamy vanilla shines even more than it shines on my skin. I feel like on my skin the vanilla, it contributed more, how to say, like texture wise in a way, in a sense that it gave a lot of body to the fragrance, so the fragrance didn't just feel light and bright because of the top notes, or very airy, fresh and floral because of the floral accord, or dry, woody, and again refreshing because of the fougere accord. It feels quite dense, quite rich, quite full-bodied, very round around the edges, and I'm guessing round around the edges and a little bit sweet, and I'm guessing that's the vanilla. And then on top of that, it's almost like you add some powdery pink florals, you add this deep fougere accord with something a little bit woody with the cardamom. Yeah, this is the fragrance. Seeing the last bits of the dry down is definitely the floral bouquet with the vanilla that lingers the most on my skin. I'd say you lose the cardamom, you lose those darker, woodier facets, you lose that very pronounced fougere-like undertone to the fragrance, so that aromatic facet. Yeah, this is how the fragrance smells like to me. Now, for me, this fragrance is a true unisex fragrance. I can tell you it has some more feminine leaning accords, like the floral part, with the blackcurrant, with the vanilla, but it also has some darker, more quote-unquote masculine leaning facets that balances it out. So if you're a woman and you are thinking to try this fragrance, first of all, go and smell it, because you can find it in stores to smell it, test it on your skin, but give it time, you guys, because this fragrance changes and changes and changes. So how it smells in the opening is not how it will smell in the hard part. How it smells in the hard part is not how it will smell in the dry down. Even though they are all interconnected to one another, it doesn't smell like a fragrance, like one type of fragrance in the opening and then in the dry down a completely different fragrance, but it evolves a lot and it keeps changing and changing and morphing, let's just say. So you need to give this fragrance time. Who would enjoy this fragrance? I feel like women who are not afraid to rock, let's just say, first of all, loud fragrances. This is a very strong fragrance. It's very strong here on paper. It was very strong when I was testing it on my skin as well. So first things first, very loud fragrances. You need to be comfortable with your fragrances, let's just say, being a little bit more low-key intrusive in a way, you know, because this is not the kind of fragrance that stays very close to your skin. This fragrance travels through the air. I was testing this fragrance. My partner was at home. I was in a different room, listening to music, having a bunch of fragrances in front of me and just like writing my thoughts on the fragrances. And my partner came in the room and he was like, something here smells very good. And I did one spray, you guys, legit, I did one spray here. And I was testing two fragrances. I was testing this one, I have written my thoughts on it, and then I was testing Teriaq as well, Teriaq Intense actually. And I asked him which of the fragrances did he smell in the air, and he told me it was this one. And I asked him, what does he think about it? Does he think it leans more feminine, more masculine? He said that it leans more masculine, but it has something there that's a little bit sweet, you know? This is exactly what I feel like. For someone with a taste like mine, I do feel like that deep fougere accord, especially considering I'm not the biggest fan of aromatic facets in fragrances, and to my nose, it comes across as something a little bit more aromatic and refreshing almost, you know? Yeah, I'd say for me it's more masculine, but like objectively speaking, this is a unisex fragrance. Like women could pull it off, men could pull it off. It's just you need all in all to have a taste for heavier fragrances, for louder fragrances, for fragrances, again, for more stable fragrances, bold fragrances, powerful fragrances, that type of blend. And you need to appreciate green facets here and there and a woody accord. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the fragrance. Now let's move on to the next fragrance, you guys. Let's move on to Teriaq Intense by Lattafa, one of the latest releases from Lattafa, you guys. Now let me just arrange a few things and let me see if the mic is still on, by the way. So let me tell you from the start, I was very curious to try this fragrance, but I was low-key afraid it will be a bit too similar to Alhambra by Lattafa. But it's not too similar. Like when I smell this fragrance, even though it does have cinnamon, but it's a very distinctive blend to Hamra. This fragrance opens up with a spice bomb, and from the world of spices, I pick up a lot of cinnamon, you guys, a lot of cinnamon, and I'm not mad about this aspect because I love cinnamon in fragrances, and I'm happy with how the cinnamon plays into the composition and that beautiful spicy exotic touch that it adds. Yeah, so I get a lot of cinnamon. Cinnamon is the first note I smell when I smell this fragrance. It feels warm, it feels sweet, very spicy, and very a tad powdery also. Then I pick up this dry woody accord that from time to time can come across as a little bit rough dry, like the dryness is a little bit too dry in a way. But I'd say you have this more in the opening and then a little bit in the hard part, but then from the hard till the dry down, it doesn't feel as dry to my nose. See, this has listed plum liquor. Now I have never smelled or drank plum liquor, so I can't tell you if I pick it up here in the fragrance. But I can tell you I pick up a boozy accord, and it's very interesting because for some reason boozy accords, like the majority of boozy accords, unless it's rum I pick it up different. My nose picks up rum pretty different, but I don't know why. Anything like a glass of cognac, a glass of whiskey, anything like this, to me it translates as this cold, almost icy cold effect that envelops the fragrance, and I feel like that's the boozy accord. To me, it smells like a very cold glass of whiskey, like whiskey with ice, you know? Or like cognac with ice, even though I don't know if you drink cognac with ice or not, but this is how it translates to my nose. Like something like a glass of cognac with ice and you add some cinnamon sticks in there, but it's very cold. This is the energy, or not the energy. This is the vibe this fragrance gives me. And then I do pick up a gentle fruity touch in the background, and I'm guessing that could be the plum. But when I smell this fragrance and I close my eyes, it's not like plum is the first thing that I smell. But it does have this deep, gentle fruity, like, but again, a very dark fruity type of accord in the background. Look, you guys, this is for the spice lovers. Something that I appreciate about this blend, they were not afraid to go all out when it comes to the way they did the cinnamon note or accord here. They went all out. This is all about cinnamon. To me, cinnamon is the epicenter of the fragrance. I smell cinnamon from the first moment I spray it, almost up until the last bits of the dry down. Of course, it gets softer and more muted, but I still do pick up spicy traces, and I love what a good spicy accord adds to a fragrance. It makes you feel more mysterious. It makes it feel more, again, a little bit more statement with a hidden, I don't know, this like spicy, fiery energy about it. The only thing I'm bothered a little bit, actually two things. So in the opening, I do pick up saffron, but the saffron, you know how it comes across as? It comes across as a little bit medicinal to my nose, but again, it's not the most pronounced accord, so it doesn't disrupt the fragrance in a way. It doesn't throw off the composition and the balance and everything like this. It's just, I would have preferred to not pick it up, but maybe this just needs a little bit of maceration, however you want to call it, and that facet will fade away, or it will just melt within the other notes, you know? And also I pick up from time to time this very bright, fresh, musky accord in a way. But it comes and it goes. It's not like I pick it up all the time. What I feel like is the trio of the fragrance is the cinnamon on one hand, the boozy accord for sure. I pick up a lot of booze in this fragrance, but the boozy accord done right, you guys, it's not overly alcoholic. Again, just like a glass of whiskey to my nose, you know, with some ice in it and with some cinnamon sticks, and you stir very well. This is the vibe it gives me. This is how I would say it smells, like something a little bit plummy, but again, more like dried plums, you know. So it's a little bit darker, a little bit of this ambery vanillic combo that as the fragrance develops, let's just say, it will get a chance to shine a little bit more, so it will round this fragrance up a little bit. It will make it feel a tad less dry, a little bit more round and dense and full-bodied. It will also add some warmth to the fragrance, but I'd say the ambery accord shines from after the 20th minute mark. That's when I'd say I start to pick up more of that ambery vanillic accord. Yeah, but see, sometimes from time to time I get this feeling, here or not, but on my skin I do pick up something that smells like, you know, that combo of tonka bean and lavender. in fragrances for men, so it feels a little bit aromatic and refreshing, but again, it's barely there. I don't know if it's just my nose, it's like my nose is playing tricks with me when I smell this fragrance, or if it actually has something like a tonka and lavender pairing that can add this effect. Safe to say it has nothing in common to the OG Teriaq. Teriaq Intense, it's a completely different blend, you guys. It follows a very different scent family, and in my mind it was created for, I wanted to say, a completely different target audience, but not necessarily target audience, you guys. I'd say for a very particular taste in fragrances. Think of this fragrance, I don't know why, as a distant cousin to Royal Blend. And why is he a distant cousin? Not because they smell alike, but because the cinnamon and the boozy accord made me think of Royal Blend. But imagine you change up the booze, you know, and you cut the apple-like facet. So you remove the apple-like facet from the fragrance and you change the booze, like the boozy accord used. You amplify the cinnamon, like you amplify like 10 times the cinnamon. Yeah, I'd say somehow, somewhat, they could meet in certain aspects. To me, this is a spicy, boozy fragrance, like a spicy, boozy, woody fragrance. The woody accord feels pretty dry. Again, I'm hoping as the fragrance will get a chance to develop, because again, I'm not really sure how fresh is the batch she has decanted this fragrance from, but I'm hoping, you know how Lattafa fragrances are, give them again a month, do some sprays, give them a month, and the fragrance will become all in all just much more harmonious. So yes, I do like how it smells. It's a like, it's not a love at this moment on. I am intrigued by this fragrance, I can tell you that. I am intrigued. I will wear it more. I will test it more, I will keep you updated. I am hoping for that dry woody accord to get a little bit more smooth. But I have to say, you guys, it's a very beautiful blend. Like, if you love cinnamon and if you love a boozy accord and a touch of something plum in the background. I don't know why, in my mind, if you enjoy fragrances like Royal Blend from Fragrance World or French Avenue. I think it was from French Avenue. A sub-brand to Fragrance World. Anyways, so if you love fragrances like Royal Blend, if you love fragrances like Gharam by Junaid Perfumes, if you love fragrances like Amber Oud Tobacco, I'd say this is definitely right up your alley. As the fragrance develops, I do pick up a gentle resemblance to Alhambra by Lattafa, but I'd say, you know what is the common accord that ties these two fragrances together? I'd say is that ambery vanillic warmth and richness. Because like I've mentioned, as this fragrance gets a chance to sit here on paper and on your skin as well, it will just get warmer and denser and richer. It will feel a tad less dry, you know, and also a little bit more sweet. I do think this is a sweet fragrance, but it's not a sickly sweet fragrance. It's not a gourmand fragrance by any means. To me, the sweetness comes from the spices and that from that ambery vanillic pairing. Ambery, think benzoin, something like this, you guys. So it's warm, it's gentle, it's a tad resinous, and it just feels pretty enveloping, but the richness is cut off a little bit by that dry woody accord. So those are my thoughts on this fragrance, you guys. Let's just say my first impressions, even though I have tested this fragrance prior. This is not the first time I'm trying out this fragrance, but I still feel like I need to test it a little bit more. I need to wear it a little bit more before I make up my mind. Now, if someone were to ask me which is better, the OG or this one, at this moment on, I have to say I feel like the OG is better. I don't know why, you guys. I don't know. Something about the OG fragrance really stood out to me. Like the texture, the way the gourmand accords are done, that suede accord, that beautiful caramelized facet, that nutty almondy quality, the fruity accord, that really stood out to me. This one, again, like I've mentioned, I am very intrigued by this fragrance. And I love the cinnamon. I love how they did the cinnamon here. For someone who loves cinnamon, this is beautiful. So yeah, those were my first impressions on the fragrance. I feel like energy-wise, it's this very, again, modern, spicy statement, you know, a little bit fiery, a little bit, and not really challenging. I don't think this is a challenging fragrance. It's a statement fragrance, but just like Royal Blend, just like Amber Oud Tobacco, it's a statement fragrance that's safe to wear on a day-to-day basis to me. Yeah, and it is beautiful. I do think the spicy accord makes it very alluring, intriguing, inviting. It adds this fiery energy to the fragrance. But yeah, let's move on to Athena from Maison Alhambra. So Athena, if you remember, just recently, I feel like a month and a half ago, I've tried here with you Angham by Lattafa. And Angham, I've tried it since. I still feel like I cannot really film an update because I have noticed improvements, but not enough improvements. I feel like if I will give perhaps one more month to that fragrance, then I will be able to come here and give you like a proper update on the fragrance, and I could tell you if I've noticed any improvements, if I haven't, if I could wear it, if I cannot wear it still. But yeah, both Angham by Lattafa and Athena from Maison Alhambra are interpretations on the DNA of Burberry Goddess. Finally, I say Burberry Goddess and not Burberry Her. In that video, for some reason, you guys, I kept calling Burberry Goddess Burberry Her, Burberry Her, Burberry Her, Burberry Her. I don't know what Burberry Her had with me that day, but anyways, Burberry Goddess. And if you have tried Burberry Goddess, you know it's this very it girl type of vanilla fragrance, but it's like a little bit darker, you know, because of the added patchouli, and the vanilla is not really your cupcakey vanilla. It's a vanilla that has something from a vanilla essence with something from a rich dark vanilla pod, so it has this underlying balsamic quality to it that adds a different type of vanillic sweetness to the blend than your usual cupcakey vanilla. Then you add some spicy powdery ginger facets to the fragrance, so it's a beautiful fragrance, nothing to complain. But yeah, let me tell you what I think about Athena. Again, I've tried it once before, so take this as like first impressions mixed with a review. Anyways, this is more of a chatty video, as you can see. So right from the start, you guys, to me this is a more easy to digest DNA, or blend, should I say. The patchouli, it's cleaned around the edges to me. Just as the lavender here, it's cleaned around the edges, and the patchouli and the lavender, I feel like are in harmony with one another, to the point where I get a one standalone green accord that feels aromatic for sure. But again, very polished and modern and cleaned around the edges. It doesn't have anything essential oil-esque about it. It doesn't have anything herbal or too herbal and green or too aromatic to the point where it leans in the aromatherapy direction. I'd say this is more of a balanced aromatic accord. See what I like about this blend? The lavender doesn't have that essential oil quality, so I'd say you have the lavender in the opening with something from patchouli. I do pick up this combo between the two, but I'd say it's more the lavender that shines in the opening with a beautiful warm powdery gingery facet. Is not the type of ginger that feels like a freshly cut ginger that's very refreshing and energizing. No, it's the opposite. It's a very powdery type of ginger that feels much more muted, much more also sweet in a way, but spicy sweet, you know what I mean? Yeah, very beautiful pairing on a creamy vanilla base. Again, creamy texture wise. Sweetness, I can't really say that the vanilla really shines a lot in the opening. I feel like as the fragrance gets a chance to develop, it will add definitely much more sweetness. But I actually feel like compared to Angham, this is less sweet, but at the same, how to explain? So this fragrance, Athena, it is less sweet, but at the same time, because it doesn't have that overemphasized and multifaceted and highlighted lavender accord that leans essential oil-esque on one hand with something herbal green on the other hand, and because the lavender accord here, it's much more muted and polished and cleaned around the edges, the vanilla to my nose feels like it can shine more, you know? The shine is not taken away from the vanilla by the lavender accord. However, when I have compared them side by side, I do feel like the overall level of sweetness in Angham is actually a little bit more pronounced. It's much sweeter, especially once you get a chance to develop from the heart till the dry down. That's when the sweetness shines. However, I feel like you have other notes that throughout the development of the fragrance cut from the sweetness of the fragrance. So in a way, when you smell it, yes, you pick up something sweet, but then right on top of that sweet accord, you pick up different accents that kind of yeah, they cut from the sweetness of the fragrance all in all. So even though this is, I feel like a tad less sweet, but it's easier to pick up the sweetness. Yeah, all in all, I'd say compared to Angham, this is a cleaner, polished blend, much more easy to enjoy, softer as well, you guys. Much more soft, but not in a negative way. If you are on the hunt for an inspiration of Burberry Goddess that captures the essence of Burberry Goddess, but it makes it much more wearable, a tad more cleaned around the edges. And what I mean by cleaned around the edges, the vanilla accord is cleaned around the edges as well, because in Burberry Goddess, the vanilla accord had that beautiful balsamic vanilla pod type of, not really funk, but sweetness, and the sweet accord felt much more full of life, full of dimension in a way. Whereas again, this is a tad more cleaned around the edges, but it's a very beautiful blend if you love Burberry Goddess. So if you wanted to try Burberry Goddess, perhaps you have already tried Angham, you were not very happy with the fragrance, you felt it was a tad too harsh, yeah, definitely try Athena. It's much more simplistic at the same time, but it's the easiest to wear. And what I like about it, again, as the fragrance develops, the vanilla does move forward, you guys. This doesn't have like a crazy development. I'd say it's more of a linear development, but again, the ratio between the notes changes, so the vanilla slowly but surely moves more and more forward until it works, let's just say, texture wise a lot, so it adds a richness to the fragrance overall. And the lavender moves in the background along with the patchouli, and they add darker green aromatic facets to the fragrance. So it's a vanilla accord with some depth, you know. Yeah, unfortunately this one didn't manage to capture that beautiful vanilla accord that you have in Burberry Goddess. To me, the vanilla accord in Burberry Goddess, is what makes that fragrance emblematic, because there you have this vanilla accord that feels dark, that feels so full-bodied and decadent, you guys. That's a vanilla accord that feels decadent and seductive. You have something there from a vanilla pod, and I love that type of vanilla accord in fragrances. It's much more darker, it has a gentle balsamic underlying quality about it, you know, so the sweetness also is much darker and it's much richer, whereas the sweetness here, I can't say that it's really that dark, but then again, this is what, 13 euros, you know what I mean, like 13, 15 euros, that type. And I do feel like for 13, 15 euros, even 20, 25 euros, this is a beautiful inspiration. So yeah, just keep in mind it's a tad less sweet than Burberry Goddess and Angham by Lattafa, but at the same time it's more cleaned around the edges and polished and easier to pull off. Now let me share my thoughts on the last fragrance. Let me share my thoughts on this fragrance, Absolute Gold from Fragrance World. See, this is a tad alcohol in the opening for a few seconds. But this is made all around a monochord. It's very interesting, you guys. So just yesterday I was testing this fragrance, and on my skin the opening feels a little bit different than it feels here on paper. So on my skin this opens up with the most realistic, borderline religious / eclectic monochord, that type of more that's warm, that's resinous, that has depth and richness and body to it. It's an extremely realistic monochord with something peppery on top that gave that refreshing spicy, or like more of a fresh spicy, not really refreshing because it didn't have that cooling facet, but it gave a more fresh spicy twist to the monochord. But the monochord is the highlight of the fragrance. See, here on paper I pick up the more, I still feel like it's the most highlighted accord, and this fragrance is created around the monochord. This is the epicenter of the fragrance, and all the other notes and accords, to me, they act as facets to that monochord to bring out different dimensions of that monochord, if you know what I mean. So I feel like at this moment on is the monochord with a little bit of pepper, and I get cocoa powder, whereas on my skin I didn't get the cocoa powder until much later on. Warm, gentle, dusty cocoa powder, this is how it smells like. And the monochord is that type of myrrh that's very resinous and dense, and it has a lot of richness about it, but it's not a resinous myrrh that has a fume undertone. I don't pick up anything smoky, or you know, it's not that type of myrrh that's burnt in a way. No, it's that type of myrrh that you just smell the resin, you know, and it exudes the warmth from within. Yeah. See, here I get a little bit of pepper as well. The black pepper, to me, I definitely pick it up, but I don't think, again, I think it only adds to the dimension of the fragrance. So it doesn't feel like a one-dimensional or singular. It doesn't feel like a one-dimensional fragrance, you know, created just around the mirror cord and that's pretty much it. No, you have the mirror cord, but like I've mentioned, you have different, almost like a cords that decorate the mirror cord, you know, and they add some more beautifying qualities to the mirror cord, so it doesn't smell like straight up church. Even though, if you know me, I love my churchy scents, you guys. I don't mind smelling like church. I find this type of blend very calming, very grounding, very relaxing. Again, an acquired taste. I don't think this is the kind of fragrance that everyone will enjoy. But if you love fragrances, for some reason, this reminds me a lot of full incense from Montale. Yeah. For a second, I almost said fall incense, but it's not fall incense, it's full incense from Montale. Yeah, now, is this the most wearable blend? I don't know. I don't think it is. But again, this is for the men and women who love ultra realistic resinous facets, not even balsamic accords, and again, not an ambery accord, you know, no, like straight up myrrh. If you have ever smelled myrrh in real life, you will pick up the myrrh accord here. It reminds me a little bit of Majd Sultan as well from Asdaaf, but I feel like Majd Sultan, the peppery accord, it's much more emphasized. It also has a coniferous-like undertone, like a piney coniferous undertone, and a gentle, smoky, warm facet about it. Here, you guys, no, here is just the myrrh, the warmth of the myrrh, the richness of the myrrh, that eclectic, grounding quality of the myrrh. Yeah, this is all about myrrh. Myrrh in all its glory. With cocoa powder, I really pick up the cocoa powder. See, beautiful blend. Something I like besides the opening, that's a tad alcoholic, I'm not gonna lie. But as a fragrance develops, nothing to complain texture-wise and scent-wise, you guys. It doesn't feel flat, it doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel sharp, it doesn't feel alcoholic anymore. And also the texture matches the scent. So it's not just like you smell, let me just get this one. It's not just like you smell more, but then the texture is flat and stretched out. No, you smell the more and you can pick up the richness, you know what I mean? And I think this is an indicator of a fragrance that's done well, even though it's affordable, it doesn't matter. When the texture matches the scent, you know, so you don't just smell an ambery accord, you get the richness of it as well. In this case, when it's a resinous fragrance, because it would have been a little bit of a bummer, in all honesty, if this would have been made around the myrrh accord, but it would have felt pretty flat and thin and stretched out and watered down. So yeah. Those are my thoughts about this fragrance, you guys. Scent-wise, I can really see that I detect a lot of changes. Like I've mentioned, myrrh is the epicenter of this fragrance from the opening till the dry down. If you love fragrances that have something from a churchy smell, that eclectic vibe, you know, but more wearable, but still that feel pretty, not challenging again, but they're an acquired taste, you know, for someone with a very specific taste when it comes to perfumes. Test this fragrance. As a myrrh lover, I can tell you, I don't think you will be disappointed, especially once that alcohol facet in the opening fades away. Those were my thoughts on all these fragrances. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being patient. I know I have moments, you guys, when I come here on YouTube and I post like 3 videos a week and I do this for 2 weeks and then I disappear. Yeah. But I promise I will try to be much more consistent with my uploads here. I'm working toward that. And sometimes not only that I'm working, but I actually feel like I'm doing pretty good. But then things happen. Anyways, life happens. But yes, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have tried any of these fragrances, let me know what you think about them. Like I always say, not only that I would love to hear your thoughts on them, but I am sure everyone who's watching this video interested in purchasing any of these fragrances could really use your feedback as well. So if you don't mind, I invite you to share your thoughts on these fragrances in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want. I will see you in my next video, but until then, I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye guys.